Welcome back, guys, to another episode 18. I cannot believe we've made it this far, Nate. How are you doing?
Other things, Hunter, how are you?
Doing well yourself, fellas. Thanks for having me. First and foremost, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As as Nate kind of said, I don't mean to step on you there, Nate, but as Nate kind of said, I just took ownership of Minnesota Golf Club out in Long Lake. We're about 10 minutes west of Ridgedale. Got two 18-foot bays with the ball golf simulators. Love to have you out.
yeah, absolutely. When we've hit that time of year, you kind of got this thing going right at the good time here as we all kind of go indoors. Now you've got a hat on that I think represents the other side of the business. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a Golo golf hat on. It's a one of one actually, but what Golo Golf is my personal company. We took ownership of Minnesota Golf Lab. Golo Golf is exactly what the name explains. We're here to help you go low. I know that's kind of cheesy in a sense, but it's true. Whether that's through lessons, club fitting, getting your clubs tuned up and built properly for you, your existing clubs, we can help in a plethora of ways. We'll have all the top of the line manufacturers there available for you to try. Top of the line shafts as well. We'll have the whole 9 yards. Basically, be able to get your game dialed in this winter. Practice facility for that, lessons, everything you need. One-stop shop for golf.
Awesome. We I know you're passionate about this because we met June, maybe
Yep.
July earlier this summer, through the state lefty open. We're both left-handed players. Brett's kind of the odd man out here, but we're both lefties, and you kind of reached out to me. I was organizing that, and we got hooked up and played in that tournament. I learned that you previously, if I have this right, did some club fitting and
Yep.
had a 9 to 5 basically, right?
Yep. So I was in the insurance biz. Was an office manager for a State Farm office in Champlin. Golf was always been my passion. I used to be the GM at St. Croix National out in Somerset, if you're familiar. And have always kind of stuck around the golf industry in a little bit of a sense. I was actually a pretty new player to golf. Started playing 5 years ago, and instantly was curious as how could equipment and how could basically try to find every single way I could buy myself a golf game. And was looking at equipment, was looking at, man, how can I get down? I'm stuck at an 8. How can I get down to that next level? And so started looking into things and getting fascinated by it. So I went to a demo day by TaylorMade at TPC Twin Cities. I was a member out there for a few years, and went through that whole process and just absolutely fascinated. My future boss at the time fit me, Chris Eichenberg, huge mentor of mine, phenomenal fitter. Took me through the process, showed me what it was like to really get fit, and basically said, "Hey, you love this. You know a ton about this. You want your clubs for free here, and we got a job for you. You just got to work for me." I was like, "We can work something out." So spent my Saturday mornings at private clubs across the metro, showing people what TaylorMade could do for their game and how it could help them, and slowly kind of dove deeper into it and had some experience getting on the tour truck, which was an awesome experience, and fit some really good local players. And that's when I started to kind of think and lose sleep over the fact that I feel like there was a lot of people out there I could help play better golf, and I didn't know if this was the best way to help people do it. Was through these demo days where people had to sign up, and they're booked into months in advance because they're free, available on TaylorMade's website. So it's like, how can I help more people play better golf? And I thought obviously bringing in more manufacturers first and foremost is another way too, having more options available for people. So lost sleep for like several weeks over this, and then eventually we landed upon where we're at.
So with where you're at, I guess, did you have like the idea of the club fitting business separately than Minnesota Golf Lab? Because Minnesota Golf Lab has been around for a while. It must have been something that came up and you purchased it.
Yep. I had zero idea what I was doing. I called a gentleman named by the name of Kevin Underwriter, runs Twin Cities Golf Public Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
Guy I know, like, and trust a significant amount. And I was like, hey, Kev, this is my thoughts. This is my dream. Where should I start looking for office space? How should I go about this? This is how I want this facility to be, like, just pure golf, club fitting, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, here's my thoughts, blah, blah, blah. Kind of went back and forth on this for a little while. And then kind of discovered Minnesota Golf Lab was for sale. Perfect facility with the size of the bays. Being something that's really passionate about this is, I know it sounds cheesy, but helping lefties out as well, having options for them, having bays that they don't feel restricted swinging in. Our 18-foot bays, I mean, you could have the flattest swing in the planet, and I promise you won't come close to touching our computer screen. There's plenty of space in there to swing, even for the gentlemen that are 6'4". You know what I mean? Every bit of people. So that was important to me when looking for a spot, and this kind of checked all the boxes. Location's perfect. We're within 4 tee shots of 4 really elite country clubs in Minnesota: Spring Hill, Wood Hill, Wayzata Country Club. Windsong's probably 5 or 6 tee shots away, but we're close. And being around that neighborhood and being able to help elite golfers out in that area was important to me. So
I don't think it's
checked all the boxes.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think it's cheesy at all that you're caring about the lefties. I think it's important.
Yes, it is. And nothing's more frustrating than walking into a golf store and seeing that one club option for you. It's like, I mean, what the regular Flex 3-iron that they have available, even though you want to try that new cool 2-iron, isn't going to cut it. So it's just nice having. I want to be able to provide options for everybody. And honestly, too, just like lefties, I feel like females have been kind of a minority in that sense too when it comes to fitting and club fitting. When you go into the store, there's one option for them. And honestly, nowadays too, thanks to Luke Benoit and Ripstick and all these speed training programs, I mean, these girls are swinging so fast. It's like we need options for them, and we need to be able to help them. And sometimes that F2 recoil, it's not distant recoil in the shaft they put out, but it's like that stock shaft that they put in every single female club, every single manufacturer is just not going to cut it for these high-end players anymore. So having options for them, having options for lefties and everybody is important to me.
And now that I think of that, like fitting with a fitter, when I went and got my clubs fitted, I had a lefty with me, and it was kind of nice because I'm righty. I'm left-handed. I throw left-handed, left-handed. I just golf right-handed. But I got fitted by a left-hander. It was actually kind of nice having him in front of me. You know what I mean? Because so he's swinging like the same way facing me, so I can kind of look at his stance. Yeah, face on, and the shoulder lean and all that fun stuff too. So I mean, as a righty to have a lefty as a fitter, that's one of the things I liked out of it.
I definitely think us lefties think differently. That's for sure. And I think we bring a unique perspective to the table in some senses. I don't know about you, Nate, but there's not many lefties I know that play golf normally. We all do things kind of uniquely in whatever sense. For me, a straight shot doesn't exist. I like to curve the ball 20 yards, even if it's completely unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that we just think differently. We see things differently, and it's kind of fun always having a different perspective.
Yeah. So if I go into Minnesota Golf Lab and I want to get some work done as far as fitting and things, I'm hitting off a mat, right? I mean, and then I'm going to take that to the course. Am I going to get the same result? Am I going to get the desired result?
Great question. That's another big concern of mine is fitting inside versus outside. Benefits of it. Seeing your ball flight outside is important. With our software, we can offset for all those concerns, in my opinion. The biggest thing with hitting indoors versus outdoors is it's a controlled environment. We think about all the different variables when you're hitting outside that you think of on just a daily basis, what kind of lie you're hitting off of. Personally, the grain of the grass, the wind, just temperature. There's so many things we have to, and thankfully TrackMan has the ability to normalize those numbers when we're outside in that environment and make it and kind of neutralize it. But being in an environment where you're on a flat lie every time and have a perfect lie every time, I think is important. so we can get a detailed fitting and take those things out of consideration and just have a controlled environment. I know it sounds kind of, but when you're doing a science experiment, the more controlled variables you have, the better. When there's a bunch of variables involved, it obviously throws things off. So the more control we can have that environment, the better. The biggest variable we face when fitting on turf is that when you strike down on turf, it tends to have that strike point a little bit higher on the face. And so what that does is it brings the spin numbers down. Wedges, it's in that 600 to 800 RPM range. Irons, it's more in that 4 to 6. And it really, not to get too nerdy about it, but it really depends on how steep the player is too. If there's someone who sweeps the ball, it's really not going to make a difference if they're not super steep with their irons. But if they're a digger, it's going to make a huge difference in their spin numbers because the ball is going to hop up on their face a significant amount. And so those are things that we take into consideration when fitting, though. So when I'm looking at, say, most manufacturers use a 7-iron head. If I'm fitting a 7-iron head, you want to see that spin generally around 7,000 RPMs. Higher speed player, 7,500. And so with that being said, if on our simulators off turf, if that's around 6,500, I know we're probably in an adequate range there. So we take into consideration those variables, but it's nice because those variables, like I said, are much less significant than the amount you'd have when you're outside. So, and the thing that's nice too, I just kind of on top of that, is our simulators allow us the ability to bring those variables into play if we want to, in the sense of wind and that kind of stuff. So I think it's important, if a properly fit driver is going to be able to hit a good drive into a 20-mile-an-hour headwind or 10-mile-an-hour headwind. And so hitting into those and being able to bring in those variables into effect is kind of unique in a sense too. So once we get done with the fitting, it's like, okay, we fit this driver. Let's see how well it really performs. Let's throw you into a 15-mile-an-hour wind at Whistling Straits, or, you know what I mean, on a driving range or wherever, and just see how this thing actually performs. Can we hit it straight when it matters? So.
Yeah. And the fact that you're able to do that with these screens now, as we sit here in 2022 is so cool, because it's interesting because you're maybe a few miles from the former Long Lake Golf Dome, which is the structure's still there. It's not even a golf dome anymore. But I remember going as a kid and hitting these drives into this dome that was, what was it, 75 yards or something. You couldn't even really tell if you had a slice, what you had. There was just so many things. Like, it was nice to swing in the winter, but these screens can do so much for us.
Yep. And knowing and understanding the data is important. But it's not, I mean, the everyday golfer doesn't need to dig super far into it. But what the simulators can do is it does kind of expose, just being in there daily. It's kind of funny. You hear the people all the time, like, I'm 20 yards longer outside. And it's like, I sit there in my head, and you don't want to be, obviously the last thing you want to do is demoralize someone who's trying to enjoy the game. It's like, your face is 14 degrees open. There's no chance you hit a 270. But it's nice because the simulators give us that feedback, that honest live feedback too. And with our overhead cameras, it gives you ball and club data. So we can see if our club face is open. We can see like how we're actually hitting the golf ball. And I think even for the average golfer that doesn't fully know how to dissect all that data and the spin and all that kind of stuff, they don't need to. They can kind of understand, hey, when I hit a good shot here, I'm going to see good numbers. And when I don't, I'm going to get exposed for it. And so I do think those simulators really help. And I put a post up on social media today, but our simulators do have a really cool feature called AG Locker that allows any golfer that walks through our door to track every single shot that they hit. And so that goes right to an app. Every single shot live uploads into that app. You can look at your rounds, track fairways hit, greens hit, go to your range sessions and look at dispersion patterns, how far you're carrying clubs, and really kind of make that practice a little bit more detailed going into the 2023 season and know where your numbers are at.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right. When I come in, am I going to be able to play different courses? Kind of all of the stuff that goes along with that at your spot as well?
Yep. We have 79 courses on our software, literally all over the world. Basically all the cliche top ones that every simulator has, your Pebble Beach, your St. Andrews, but also some pretty cool, unique ones as well, from all over the world. So you're able to do all that kind of stuff. There's also, it's great for families, kids too, because we have the mini golf, the skee ball, darts, other fun little miniature games inside of the simulator as well to keep your kids entertained. If you're having a family night there or something like that too. So there's a little bit of everything for all levels of golfers, and we can also we can boost their numbers a bit so they can keep their drives up with dad.
Nice, Brett. We both have 4-year-olds that we've brought to the course, and we let them run and whatever. This feels like the place we need to check out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You throwing a few beers and some pull tabs, I'm in.
Yep, it's got a video game feel to it, which really gets the kids into it. And like I said, when you boost their numbers a little bit and they see the ball actually getting up in the air and flying a little bit, and it makes it fun for them. Makes it a lot of fun for them. So
yeah, and that's what you got to do to get the kids, hooked into the game.
Ultimately, everybody, honestly, we all need a reminder that golf is fun, because there's days where it doesn't seem like it, but it's a game for a reason. Got to enjoy it a little bit.
Like that 10 I took on 18 on Saturday, or the first day of the Lefty Open.
Hey, I took a 9 on number 9, so I feel your pain.
Yeah, it can hit you.
I hit a ball that was not mine, and I got up to the green. I actually had a great shot from the fescue weeds. Saw TaylorMade number 5, and those are only balls you get in like 2-ball packs from like fitting days. And so I was like, oh, that's mine for sure. Who else plays a TaylorMade 5? That's what I was playing. And so I hit that thing up there, and I got up and I looked at the guys. I was like, this is not my ball. So went back there, and I think I was hitting for like 7 or 8 and actually stuck a wedge really tight. And I don't know if I 2 or 1 putted, but I made a 9. Put a dent in the scorecard, to say the least. And the morale going into the back 9.
But that back 9's a bit more scoreable,
It is. Yeah, it's gettable.
So I feel like, honestly, I could dive even deeper into all of this, because I have so much to learn about shafts and lie and all of these things. But I also kind of want to get your thoughts on Live and PGA Tour and some other things as well.
Money aside, give me some positive stuff about Live.
Yeah, I think I was just reading online too earlier today, not even thinking of what we're talking about it, just on Golf Digest, getting a lot of people's opinions on it. The events definitely cater to the younger demographic. They seem fun. To me, the only thing that still just bugs me about it is it doesn't get me too hyped. A guy coming up 15 to win a tournament, you know what I mean? Because if a guy who starts on, say, hole whatever ends up, I'd like watching guys come up 18. I feel like golf courses. I'm kind of a old school guy in a golf course architecture sense, and I think golf courses are built the way they're supposed to be built for a reason. And I think I do like the idea of the shotgun start, but it also bugs me that the golf tournament doesn't finish on hole 18 like it should. That being said, it also seems like a blast, and I would enjoy going to one. And I'd watch it, so it has me entertained. I am a golf nut. I love golf, and any excuse to watch it, I'm in. So I don't get too much into the politics of it personally.
Oh, that's the fun part.
I know it is the fun part, but I don't get too much into the politics of it personally. I like I told you guys previously a little bit. I good for those guys. I tell them to go get theirs. But it's I think the entertainment factor is there. I don't know. I'd be curious to see if they survive or not. So they're gonna, but it's for how long and how successfully.
What are your thoughts on Rory and Tiger? Just kind of like the two. What the PGA seems like it's standing on is these two holding it up, and then you got obviously the new found love for Tom Kim that everyone seems to have found, but I mean just these two guys and
what's interesting is it seems like it's rubbing the. I mean it is because people have been outspoken about it, but it's rubbing the tour players the wrong way, and a lot of them. I feel like you're going to see those guys who are at that meeting. That private meeting with Tiger, I feel like you're going to see some of those guys change their kind of mindset on it and flip and go to live. I know he saw rumors, or I saw a bunch of tweets. I don't know if you guys did, about Ricky going over there. Obviously, there's nothing been official about that, but I feel like you'll start to see some guys like that potentially make that transition, because this event or this tour, wherever they're kind of coming up with, seems like it's a kind of a Rory and Tiger show to me, instead of I don't know. And to be honest with you, if it's a Rory and Tiger show, I'm all in. I'm watching that. So
I am too, but I hadn't heard the Ricky stuff, so that's new to me.
I just saw it all on Twitter, but Twitter's full of crap. So
yeah, it is. But at the same time, like, so many people are getting their news from that platform. When you brought up that more and more people are starting to go, and that you might end up with some disgruntled members of that secret meeting. I saw Xander, Cantlay, Mito Pereira, Thomas Peters, and Tiro Pat.
Those are the exact names that's what I'm referencing. Like, those type of people are going to get, and I think they were rubbed the wrong way by it.
Mm-hmm. I do too. And one of the things that I think further proves that is that the kind of information is getting leaked about who won the player impact, the PIP money this year. It sounds like it was Tiger again, and Rory took second. Like, that just feels to me like you can't give this money that's supposed to engage people in the tour to the old guard. You know, it's got to go to new people. It's got to go to the young guys. It's got to go to that if you want to engage the audience in the young talent.
Yeah, personally, there's a lot of, granted, I'm in the deep corners of the golf Twitter and social medias, but you think you'd see a guy like Kevin Kisner, who's been getting a lot of love lately, high up on that PIP list and stuff like that, but it's always the same big names. But the other thing, kind of going a little off topic here, but I can't remember the specific event, but did you guys see the news just on Golf Digest literally an hour or two ago about the LPGA event in Saudi Arabia upping their purse to a record amount for LPGA? It was kind of, there's some conflict, like they almost don't even want them to, but they upped the prize amount to like six million for the purse for the entire event, and then winner's going to get like 1.75, which is a huge amount for LPGA, which I'm happy for them first and foremost, but it's like that'll cause some controversy here going forward, because apparently the individuals involved in that are pretty high up in LIV as well. So I think that'll be the next little ripple here in the LIV PGA.
I got the article up, and I'm screen sharing it right now for all our viewers, but the headline is, in women's golf, it's been a week of huge purse increases, and it's got a Saudi and I can't even pronounce the name, and a Danish golfer, Emily Kristen Pedersen, right next to the trophy. And yeah, I mean, a 3.5 million purse. That'll be the largest among non-major events outside the CME Group Tour Championship.
I saw something about is there something on there about a $5 million purse too?
So said that the Americo Saudi Ladies International next February will have a purse of $5 million. The purse was $1 million this year. Oh my gosh.
We kind of talked about this in a previous episode where it was
exactly,
like,
that's why I'm laughing.
is LIV gonna add the women's tour, and we kind of dove deep into that. But no, this happens. It has to have that commissioner just shaking in their boots. Like, they have to be worried that they're gonna lose those players, especially given the pay disparities on the two PGA tours.
Yeah, it'll be the next 2 years, I should say, of golf will be really fascinating to see what happens with like the entire landscape of it. In terms of the competitiveness of the tour is a concern to me. But at the same time, there's so many good golfers out there that's not going to be concerned. But how big the names are and the notoriety behind them and how watchable it is, the product is. But and LIV too, securing a TV contract, I don't think they're going to survive off of YouTube. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, there's so many variables in the whole deal.
And for me, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to, do they get a TV deal? And what do the majors all say? We know that the RNA just said, you're welcome at the Open. But what do the other three say? And if those three say, yeah, come play, and then they get a TV deal, I mean, I think it blows it wide open, because we're finding that the Ryder Cup doesn't even quite move the needle anymore with Stenson leaving. And if Xander and Cantlay go, like, they're supposed to be like good buddies and just a natural pairing on a Ryder Cup team. And so if they all leave, it's like that doesn't even, like I said, move the needle for them anymore. And everything that is golf legacy changes.
I agree. Augusta ain't letting the guys in anytime soon. I can promise you that. So they're one of the majors that they'll be the last one to go. If anything, I could see potentially the U.S. Open allowing them in, but who really knows?
Mm-hmm.
The USGA has already kind of made their stance too, just like the PGA in a sense. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure.
What did they say? The USGA, PGA of America.
The USGA, I don't want to make any. I should look it up before I make any specific statements, but I'm pretty sure they made something along the lines of that they were not going to allow them to compete.
Okay.
It wasn't anything like super negative. It was just along the lines of that. I don't think they were going to allow them to compete in future events.
Right. And
I think, I mean, unless they qualified just like everybody else.
Oh, okay. So no, just exemptions, like.
Yes, I think that the exemption portion of that is gone. So they just have to open qualify like everybody else.
Okay.
That would be fascinating in itself. Sorry to interrupt you, but that'd be fascinating in itself, like a mini series of watching Live Tour guys trying to qualify for the U.S. Open through local qualifiers, and watching Joe Schmoes just get lucky and shoot 6 under at their home course and beat Dustin Johnson. That'd be entertaining to me. I'd be up on YouTube watching that all night long.
While looking up that U.S. Open thing, I found starting in 2023, players may swap out damaged clubs for replacement.
I wonder if it's intentional damage or not.
It does say accidentally broken clubs may be replaced.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was gonna say, because Bryson gave a little lean on his driver a year or two ago. I can't remember what tournament specifically, in his shaft.
I remember that.
Said nope on him and just snapped in half. And I remember he ran to the trunk and was able to replace it. But I'm a big lead tape guy. I have lead tape on a lot of my clubs, and a fascinating rule with lead tape is if that falls off during your round, you are not able to replace it.
Okay, and is that unique to lead tape in particular?
I think so, because you think there's not really many other objects you'd put on a golf club in that sense. I mean, hot metal's inside the head. If a movable weight fell off, you could put it back on, but you cannot adjust that movable weight during your own.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what other weird club rules, but
I'm not finding anything in the U.S. Open off just quick type in here.
To the lead tape thing, just sort of an aside, it's worth looking up when you get a chance. There was a picture of John Daly's irons that I saw.
Coated.
Or something. They are loaded with lead tape.
Yep. Lead tape is really useful. It doesn't look good on golf clubs, but it's a really useful tool for getting proper swing weight on your golf clubs. Everyone likes their swing weight differently, but it's a really quick way to alter it. You can put tip weights in as well, in the tip or the butt of the shaft, but lead tape's a quick fix without having to pull off heads and grips and go through the whole process. And as you can tell, John Daly loves it. Some golfers love the look. Like I'm a lead tape guy. I love having my wedges are coated in it. I love it.
Okay. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I gotta come in and have a long conversation with you, because there's a lot I don't know about shafts that I feel like I should know. I've never dove into this whole lead tape aspect. Like, there's just so much that I
There's
feel like
so many facets to a golf club and like a properly fitted golf club, and that's why it's so. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on the internet. Let's start there. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but it's so tough to go down that deep dive yourself without the proper guidance and knowledge. And it's a lot easier to just go to someone and just have them tell you exactly what you need. And part of the biggest part of the fitting conversation in the process is the interview. Finding out what you liked in the past. What was a club that you hit really well in your golf past that worked well for you? Kind of figuring out what you like, because after you get into that, there's so many variables within a golf club and a golf shaft itself. Kick points, weights, flexes. There's so many things that you can get into. But the biggest part, and that's why it's the fun part of my job, is when you get people's mind off of that, they tend to hit some pretty good golf shots in front of you and start to play some pretty good golf, because they're not thinking. They trust what's in their hands. They know it's proper for them. They know it's built right. And they just execute. And it sounds a lot easier said than done, but it's fun when you see that click for someone when they, especially, I mean, if you're over 6'1" or under 5'9", and you don't have golf clubs that are fitted for you, you're doing yourself a massive disservice. And you don't need to go buy a brand new set of $1,400 irons to get fitted. We can work with what you have. We can bend clubs, we can extend them, we can cut them down. There's a lot of stuff we can do to work with your existing clubs and help you on a budget too. So it's not always about getting you into the newest and nicest set. If you have a fitter that's trying to sell you something, they're not doing their job. Half the time people walk out with less clubs with me than they would like to, because ultimately there's not a lot of people in the world that need 14 clubs in their bag, especially beginning golfers. I mean, I feel like you learn to play golf a lot better, learn how to create shots with different clubs rather than just go ahead and grab the whole set and go from there. So that's my spiel. Enough of that.
I love it.
No, it's interesting stuff. If you're willing, we should have you back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another episode down the road. But I also, if I recall, I remember you're a football guy.
Yes, I did play. I was a mediocre D3 linebacker at Gustavus Adolphus College.
Okay. So how do you feel about the 7-1 Vikings? Are you buying in? Are you?
Oh yeah, I am the biggest Minnesota sports hard out, and I am like, it's almost sickening. I'm delusional, but I can admit it to people. I thought we'd be good going into the year, but every year I got, I'm like, this is the year. But I was like, I don't know, this year feels special. And
no, don't be fooled, man. We have played one team above 500. One team, and that was the Dolphins.
Look
without
at the rest of our
Tua.
schedule, though.
Without Tua, yeah, and now we're gonna play the Bills without.
Who just lost to the Jets.
Without Josh Allen, and we're gonna be playing Case Keenum and Diggs, and they're gonna have the Buffalo Miracle against us, who can, and we can't blow out a team. There's no such thing as a blowout.
They got Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White, who's a top 5 corner in the league's out right now too for the Bills. They're banged up.
Yeah, we're gonna. This is bad. It's bad.
But you think either way, though, the rest of the division's selling off their squads at the trade deadline or doing nothing. No one in their division is going to compete. We'll make the playoffs, but all of us here know, even if you're a Minnesota sports fan or not, we are going to lose in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who we play. It doesn't matter if we're home or away. And it is probably going to be a heartbreaker. I'm ready for it. I've accepted it. But
27 wide left. I was at that game.
It's painful. But the frustrating thing is that we're gonna have like 2 losses. It's gonna be another year like that where we're gonna look great going in. We're buyers.
We're the 2 seed. We're the 2 seed behind the Eagles. We look great.
Yeah, but we also haven't won a game by more than a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it's nerve-wracking. And our next 5 games are all against teams with winning records, which we haven't really seen yet.
Really? We haven't. We've seen one and we lost to him.
Yeah, but that was Kirk Cousins in primetime.
Those games don't count. Like, you can't count them.
Yeah, that one. We're 7-0.
Let's put it. I shouldn't say the Vikings will lose the first round of the playoffs. If they play us on Saturday at like 12, 11 o'clock, that first game on Saturday morning, when people are like still waking up and not fully tuned in, Kirk Cousins might have a really good first half before everyone turns on their TV, and we might have a big enough lead that we can hold on to it.
I love it. The Vikings don't know what a 2-score lead is. I don't think we've had one.
How good are the Vikings on the first drive, though? The Vikings' first drive with the scripted offense. Every single game we come out just looking so sharp, and I'm like, we're going to dominate, and then it's just like, I'm kind of worried about KOC's ability to make adjustments in game.
Yeah, just new coach, all of that. But at the same time, we don't – like that Commanders game could have gone the wrong way quickly. After the ref set that pick – Kirk got that just before that. Kirk had that delay a game, and he kind of threw a fit, and then threw a pick himself. Like that momentum could have switched, and it didn't. It went our way.
It has every game this year, though. And that's the concerning part: is when does it stop going our way? You know what I mean? That's what.
Right.
And I love the Vikings, so I want it to keep going our way. But it just like it's like win. But I'm gonna keep riding this high. This is a phenomenal feeling being 7-1. It's not a feeling I know. So
we're not gonna have all the time for. I mean, with the special guests, our normal podcast, includes some prize picks, some NFL picks, but having Hunter on here, I can honestly say this has been a real treat, man. I really appreciate everything you've done. Why don't you one last time here tell us where everyone can find you, where everything's at, and everything going on.
Yeah, I appreciate that a bunch. No, MinnesotaGolfLab.com, GolfGoLow.com. Those are the two websites, social media handles as well. If we were going to do prize picks, I was going to pull a lefty out of my hat and go get Garrett Kigo.
Hey, we can go a quick break really quick and come back on if you guys want to.
It's up to you, but I was going to go Garrett Kigo. He's got a new Scotty Cameron in the bag and a new putter. Everyone always puts well with a new putter in the bag the first week. So Garrett Kigo this week. Lock it in.
I'll lock it in.
All right,
Lefties.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It was a blast. Let's do it again. If you guys have questions, I'd love to answer them. I'd look forward to hopefully having some of your guests out to the spot and take good care of you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch. I want to get out soon. I'm already itching to swing the club again.
Yes, come whenever. Like I said, we got plenty of room for lefties. Would love to have you.
All right, have a good night.
Sounds good. Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you.
Of course. We'll be in touch, fellas.
Thank you.